Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to another of our Managing Your Small Business on the Pandemic webinar series number 117. Webinar Wednesday's been around a little longer than that, but it is Webinar Wednesday. Very excited to be here today. I think we've got a great program today, a lot of great information. I'm about ready to leave my troubled morning behind me, so looking forward to this afternoon. Let's bring it on. So what is up today? Today, June 8th. Well, today I was supposed to be saying I'm not live in downtown Bakersfield. I was supposed to be saying I'm live in Lake Isabella in the Kern River Valley, but they did a little thing on me called closing the canyon this morning. So no Kern River Canyon, no Highway 178 to drive up, no live webinar. So we're here instead, but you're gonna find out today everything you need to know about starting a small business with Cindy Merzon. Now, that's probably a little unfair to Cindy because in a webinar, you're never going to know everything that you need to learn about starting a small business. Cripe, you're going to be into a small business for 15 years before you know 80%. Maybe it's 20 years, the 80-20 rule. 20 years, you know 80%. But she's going to be here to talk about some great things that have been going on with a program that we've talked about for a good part of this year already, and that's the California Dream Fund. So we're going to find the actual results and actually see where the rubber has met the road with the California Dream Fund. And also bring in Access Plus Capital's Pamela Mostert and do a little thing on our capital quarter. Still trying to come up with a good name for our capital bit every week, but we're going to have a capital program in accessing capital for small businesses every week. And today we'll get an update from Access Plus Capital. We're going to have a brief update on the remaining relief programs that are out there and things that you might want to check for. And we do have some bigger funding coming to assist small businesses down the road. We'll touch on that and be talking a lot about that in the next few months. Our little bit on the economy, our little corner of economic corner. This week we'll feature some very economic news. It's going to be your timely news every week that we go to for what's happening in the general economy, because the general economy is usually things that you cannot control in your business, but it's going to control you when there are very adverse conditions like what's going on now with some of the things with inflation and in the job market and supply chain and a few other things, but we'll talk about a few things that are happening this week. Also, as always, your questions will be taken at the end, and also we'll do a poll. We'll do the poll right now. So our poll question today is kind of a launch into our economic corner. So we've got a couple, like a turkey sesame theme to our 3 poll questions. A little more fun than usual, which I think is probably good. But we're going to launch the first question. It's about Turkey, the country. Turkey, the country, has the 6th highest inflation rate in the world. What is that annualized percentage? Is it 30%, 70%, or 200%? So we're talking about Turkey, the 6th highest. So there's 5 countries that are actually worse than Turkey's number here. But, you know, here in the US, we're really struggling with this 8% annualized rate. So this 8% figure that we keep looking at month to month. But Turkey, the country of Turkey, the 6th highest rate, 30, 70, or 200%. Okay, we have 56% of you in right now, looking for just a couple more and get that 60% number that I like. And I think we're getting real close to getting that, but there it is. We're in the poll right now. So the country of Turkey has the 6th highest inflation rate in the country. So you are telling me that half of you are saying it is 70%. 8% in the US, 70% in Turkey is absolutely correct. 70% is their rate. 33% of you thought it was 200%, because I know I bring some bizarre numbers in this thing, so I would have probably guessed that one myself. And also 17% at 30%. So thank you, and let's move on to our next Turkey-related Webinar Wednesday poll question. And it is going to be, it's going to be about a movie. I don't know if we've ever done anything about a movie, especially a kids movie. Back in the 80s, there was a movie called Follow That Bird. Now, in that particular Follow That Bird, he refers to who as the big old turkey? Is it Kermit the Frog? Is it Big Bird? Or is it Miss Piggy? In the 1985 movie Follow That Bird, which on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. So pretty good flick in the day, I guess, for kids. And Oscar the Grouch, I just call him Oscar, but Oscar the Grouch referred to this Sesame Street character as a big old turkey. And we have 60% of you in. And boy, there was no fooling you on this one. 94% of you, Big Bird, absolutely. I guess everybody saw that movie, huh? So poll question number 2 is now in the books. So let's stop that share and go to our last poll question. And on a related question, a follow-up to the Follow That Bird movie. Which celebrity did not appear in Follow That Bird, the movie? Was it Willie Nelson? Was it Chevy Chase? Was it Sandra Bernhard? And I spelled her name wrong. There's no T at the end there. So don't think that that's the reason why that's there. Or John Candy. We got 3 of these celebrities that were there, and one of them was not. And to be honest with you, my recollection of the movie, I got this one wrong, and I'll explain why. We're up to 46% of you that are in. We're just asking for the celebrity who was not in the movie Follow That Bird. Okay, let's end the poll. A fun poll today, I might add, but let's end the poll and share the results with 54% of you participating. And 35% of you thought Sandra Bernhard just because I can't spell. That's incorrect. I got you on one of them. 24% thought Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase was the newsman in there. And the cop was John Candy, 18%. Willie Nelson was not in Follow That Bird. And when I thought about that poll question today, I thought he was. And it ended up being Waylon Jennings played the truck driver. So my mistake. So anyway, a little bit of fun with turkey and sesame seeds and inflation. Okay, well, let's go to Capital Corner. Let's bring in Access Plus Capital's Pamela Mostert and get an update on what's going on with Access Plus Capital. Pam, thanks for being here. Take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelly. It's always a pleasure to be invited to speak to your group. And just want to congratulate you on 117. That's an amazing streak. But what I thought we talked about today is Access Plus Capital, a little bit about who we are, and then our commitment to Kern County. If I can get there we go. So Access Plus Capital, we're a CDFI. Well, what is a CDFI? Well, we're a Certified Development Financial Institution, which is a designation from the United States Treasury. And we're a not-for-profit lender, which is a little different than your traditional bank lender, where we're mission-based. And so we were created initially as a result of the racial tensions to create or eliminate racial wealth gaps. We, just like Kelly had mentioned, our footprint is very similar. We do cover 14 counties. And our mission is to eliminate economic barriers to financial success through fair and equitable community investment. In addition to providing capital, we also do a lot of training and technical assistance, which I'll touch on briefly in just a moment. But here's a little overview of Access Plus Capital. We are a private not-for-profit lender. Most of our funding comes in the form of grant funds, which really makes us different than a traditional lender in the way that we are more liberal with our lending decisions and very targeted focus. So as long as it fits in our mission, we're pretty apt to be able to make the loans happen. We were established in 2009, We do have a community of bankers that sit on our loan committee. So any of our loans that are over 50,000, we have a community panel that looks at our loans and makes a decision to make sure that we're meeting our mission and providing capital to communities that need that. We do have 20 staff and growing. We do serve 14 counties, as I mentioned, and we do loans ranging from 5,000 to 500,000. And on a case-by-case basis, we are often doing loans larger than 500,000. Again, if it really falls into our mission and is something that benefits the community, we will talk about it. We do startup financing, which is extremely different than what a traditional lender will look at. We do what we call projection-based forecasting and lending. And we have many partnerships that help us along the way. Kelly's group, the SBDC, is a very strong partner, along with SBA and some other community mission-based organizations. We have 3 offices, primarily in Fresno, and then we have a Bakersfield office and a Modesto office. And I will announce our new office in Bakersfield that's opening within a couple weeks. So our commitment to Kern County. So we just went through our 5-year strategic planning session with our board, our loan committee, and our staff. And we, along with a consultant, projected out what our 5-year lending plan will look like. And as a result, we decided that 25% of our loans will go to Kern County, which is about $11 million. So that's extremely exciting for us, Access Plus Capital, and then the County of Kern. Currently, we have a satellite office that has been inside of the Self-Help Credit Union for many years. And I'm very pleased to announce that we're going to have our very own office at 841 Mohawk, Suite 150, which is right by the Stockdale Tower. We do have 3 staff members that will be manning that office. Raquel Jimenez, who's brand new to Access Plus Capital and comes with a wealth of experience. She is our new business development manager. We have Buffy Norby, who's my employee, works for me, and she's our business services specialist. And our senior credit manager, Mr. Jason Gridiron, who lives in Bakersfield, will also be housed out of our new office. So what types of loans do we do? We do enterprise loans, which are larger deals, which usually will be for business acquisition or commercial real estate. Now, our credit score, we're not really considered a credit score lender, but we look at some minimums, and if there's some explanations that sound good to our underwriting team, that number is a little flexible as well, but 620 or above is typical. Our rates are anywhere from 6 to 8.25%, kind of depending on what type of loan that is. So if it's commercial real estate, it would be on the lower end. We go terms of 5 to 25 years, and this one's primarily for existing businesses. We do startup financing, as I had mentioned, and that's typically up to 50,000, but if it's over 50,000, we will look at it case by case. Our microloans is kind of really our niche where we really do most of our lending. That's 5 to 50,000. We do SBA micro as well. So if the deal needs some collateral support, we may go this option, but 600 or above on the credit score. The rates are 7.75 to 8.25 in a term of 3 to 6 years, existing and startup. And what also sets us apart from traditional lending is we lend to I-10 borrowers as well. Now, the nano loan, this is really exciting because this is kind of the adverse of what you would normally think of risk-based pricing. But this loan came about as a lot of our borrowers tended to be a little credit challenged. So this nano loan came about as that result, so that we can, step back and really look at the strength of the borrower versus their credit score, their past history of making payments. So the credit score was set at a low bar of 550 or above. These are small loans just to help give you a little bit of working capital from 5 to 20,000. The rate is 3%. Thank you very much to a generous grant from Wells Fargo. So typically when you have your credit challenged, credit score challenged, you usually pay more for credit. So this one is extremely in the different realm of that. Business just has to be operating for 1 year. It's very minimal documentation. It can either be 1 year tax returns, 3 months of bank statements, or an interim profit and loss statement, and ITIN borrowers as well. And this is strictly for 3 counties, Kern County being one. So very proud of this product. What you can use our funds for, just about anything: working capital, of course, equipment. I mentioned real estate, business acquisitions, tenant improvements. So if you own your building and want to do some upgrades, even refinance high interest debt. You know, when we talk about access to capital, capital is out there anywhere you can find it. And we've seen quite a bit of online lenders come to fruition, and the interest rates are extremely high. So we do a lot of refinancing of high interest debt. Inventory, food trucks is something that we're really starting to take off with. We do have a food truck academy where we kind of help you through that process, and we work directly with a food truck manufacturer. So this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. We also do semi trucks and trailers, and then letters of credit as well. Now, I had mentioned what kind of sets us apart from traditional lenders in the fact that we do a lot of technical assistance, where we work with our borrowers very closely one-on-one. We create a tailored plan for each individual business. A lot of what we do when we deal with startups is a lot of loan technical assistance, where we can help you through the business planning process, help you put together some projections to see how your revenue will project out over the next 3 years, your ability to repay the debt that you're taking on, in addition to post-loan technical assistance. So once we grant you capital, we really walk hand in hand with your business over the life of the loan. Especially with startups, the first year, we want to stay in touch. We want to make sure that your business is performing as you had projected it to. And if not, then let's take a step back, reassess the situation, and get you some assistance that you may need. We try to use subject matter experts, and that's where our partnerships come into play, like the SBDC and Kelly's group. He has a tremendous amount of subject matter experts as far as his consultants go, and we really rely on them. We try to pair you up with somebody that's geographically close to you as well, so that you're working closely with them. In addition to that, we do a plethora of workshops. Some of the popular ones are steps to improving your credit, or just understanding credit. We all have that 3-digit credit score, and really kind of what goes into that, or what can I do to improve it. Business plans and projections, understanding financials and cash flow, which is extremely important for existing businesses to really assess the health of their business. And then a lot of marketing and strategic planning, even procurement, exporting. And then we do work with a specialist that can help you set up QuickBooks or an accounting system.
Okay, looks like we've lost Pam. So, well, thank you, Pam. It was great while you were here. Moving along, just kind of a quick update on some of the action status for Key Relief. There's the California Dream Fund that we'll talk about, and Cindy, I'm sure, will have the way to contact if people are interested. We'll talk more in the next few weeks about the State Small Business Credit Initiative. 5 states have already started receiving part of the $10 billion, or that is now, I believe, $8 billion from the federal treasury. We have the Kern County Micro Grant Program that is still open. There's time to get in that. Some restrictions, but if you do qualify, please apply. There's $2,500 available for those micro businesses here in Kern County. The Mono County Grant and Forgivable Loan Program remains open in Mono County. It's open. You're going to want to see one of the Jeffs there. You can see either Jeff Lucas, who is their consultant working on the project, which is a CDBG-based grant program, or of course, Jeff Simpson, the Economic Development Manager for Mono County. Idles are all closed. The employee retention credit is open retroactively. If you can go back and justify that you qualified and earned, you can file amended 941 returns, contact your accountant or your payroll processing company. Lindustry is still open and funding. They're not open. The California grant relief grant program is not open, but they are still funding. So we still have that is going on. On my little slice of economic corner, our side of the relevant econ news of the day, of course, inflation always is going to start that. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen expects to see elevated levels to persist for inflation. And now the World Bank is warning of stagflation. That's right, stagflation. US added 300,000 jobs, and probably mortgage firms and retailers are not among those, as retailers are starting to cut back now on hiring, anticipating that inflation is going to have a negative response to their particular businesses. Target has already came out and said they bought too much inventory. So retailers are kind of having, the bigger retailers, and our US trade deficit sunk in May. This particular program in California, which we talked briefly about, the state small business credit initiative, will be getting into that a little bit more in the next few weeks. There's some interesting components that I think could dovetail or even provide more money for the Dream Fund. And that is, they have money in that particular funding for programs and for other things that are more entrepreneurial based. So there's more seed capital for deserving firms as they define as such. Okay, so today's special guest is Cindy Merzon. Cindy is the director of the Cal Coastal Small Business Development Center, Cal Coastal being, I believe, another CDFI, but I'll let her explain that. Also, she brings extensive experience in managing large, diverse teams, Fortune 500 background, executive leadership, works for a very large public benefit nonprofit these days, works on the facilitation of small business loans, certified development company in the past. Those are those nice big asset-based loans. So she's got that big solid background in finance that is always valuable for somebody who is doing the kind of work that she's doing. And she directs the SBDC serving Monterey and San Bernardino County. Prior to the SBDC, Cindy served as loan committee on different boards and directors, graduate of the California State University system, albeit in Fresno, with a bachelor's in science and business administration. Cindy, you've done so much work on this Dream Fund for our entire Central California region. Very excited to have you on and update what you've gone through. Thank you so much for joining us, and take it away.
Well, thank you, Kelly, for having me. And I'm just going to jump right in and say there's not a thing wrong with CSU Bakersfield, but there's certainly lots good about CSU Fresno. So we've got the little rivalry going. I also wanted to say that, Kelly hinted at the beginning of this webinar that I was going to tell you everything you needed to know to start a business, which is absolutely not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you about the California Dream Fund and what that has entailed in terms of implementing it in Central California for us. What the California Dream Fund is, what the training curriculum is, and the homework requirements, and how you can register if you're interested in being part of that, and how it ties to potential grants, etc. And the idea is if you haven't started a business and you don't know what it takes to start a legal business, this California Dream Fund training program is the perfect fit for you to give you the kinds of details that Kelly promised I was going to give you in the webinar today. So I'm going to jump in and share my screen and give you a preview of the California Dream Fund. So I'm delighted, as I said earlier, to join you guys, and I will tell you that I did do the design of our California Dream Fund training program, and delivered the first cohort of 25 students. And I'm working as a co-instructor for the second cohort, which we're about halfway through. So we've been living this thing for several months now, and know a lot more than we did at the beginning. In fact, we even did in February, I think we did a webinar that talked about the California Dream Fund, and there was so much that was still developing throughout the state about what the requirements were. And so we know a lot more now. Hopefully I can kind of fill you in on those details and answer any questions you have at the end. I know that you may have already heard or seen a webinar about the California Dream Fund. And as I said today, my goal is to give you information from the ground level where we've been living it and breathing it for several months now. And I think I'll just jump in and start going over the details of the program. Okay, so what is the California Dream Fund? It is a one-time $35 million grant program to seed entrepreneurship and small business creation in the state of California. Now, because the intent is to seed small business creation in California, this program is not for existing operational businesses. It's for startup businesses, people that have not yet legally started their business. Participants will complete a very intensive training program through select participating centers of the Technical Assistance Expansion Program. These are organizations that the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development have awarded some of these $35 million grant funds or set aside to develop and deliver training programs and to ensure the eligibility of the participants so that when they finish that training program, they'll be able to apply for the grant at the end of the process. So in our case, the focus is for individuals who plan but who have not already started their business in one of the 14 Central California counties, the ones that Kelly went over earlier in the webinar. And then the third thing is that following successful completion of the training and consulting program, new businesses will be eligible to apply for a micro grant of, and I've underlined and bold printed, up to $10,000. I've had lots of people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to apply for that $10,000 grant. And so I need to kind of explain that it's not necessarily $10,000, it's up to. The grant amount is determined by your North American Industry Classification System number, which is a mouthful, also known as your NAICS industry code or NAICS industry code. Further, most of the $10,000 grants require that the business have signed a commercial lease to be eligible for that amount. So many of the businesses that will be applying for these grants are likely to be eligible for $5,000 grants, not the $10,000 grants, but you'll be able to see what is a good fit for you in some of the documents that have been provided by the state, and I'll give you the link to access those. So because the grant funds are public funds, there is a rigorous tracking and documentation process to ensure that recipients meet all of the requirements before being allowed to apply for the grant, including detailed documented attendance records, homework completion, quiz passage, and documentation of legal business start and access to a business banking account. So all of that we have to provide and certify that you've done all of those things before we give you even access to apply for the grant. And then once you apply for the grant, the organization that's been contracted by the state to process that is called Lindustry, and Lindustry is asking for many, many, many documents and details to verify that you are a legitimate business that started in California and that you have all of the requirements to meet that. They had so many experiences of fraud during the COVID relief programs that existed. They've just really tightened down the process of reviewing what everyone is doing to make sure that you are a legitimate business that's eligible for these funds. So a couple of things to remember about this. This is not a grant program where there's free money. It is a seed fund program that is primarily a training program to help you get your business off of the ground, first to determine if it's has a chance of being a successful business and a profitable business, and then help you with all that you need to do to launch that business and hopefully have a successful, profitable business. And the seed money from the grant program at the end of that training is to help you offset some of the costs of starting your business. It's not guaranteed. The funding is not guaranteed, and in most cases is not enough to completely start your business. So keep all of that in mind as you're considering whether or not this is a good fit for you. Okay, as Kelly said, the Central California Network serves entrepreneurs and small business owners in 14 Central California counties. You've already heard all of the, the geographic layout of those counties, so I'm not going to go through that again. There are also multiple California Dream Fund providers in Central California, including us. So you may choose to participate in the program that best suits your needs or is a better, is a good fit for you. The important thing for you to remember, and you can see on the screen who those providers are. I will just kind of show you with my pointer if I can get it over there. Here we go. The other providers in Central California, here's who they are. And of course I clicked on it. So it's Central California SBDC Network, which is us and our program, and then these other providers. Each of these providers have been allocated some of the grant funds. And so if you participate in the training program with one of those providers, you apply for the grant funds that they have been allocated. You cannot participate in a training program with one provider and then apply for a grant funds that were allocated to another provider. So it's kind of, hand in hand to apply for the grant with whomever provided you the training. Okay, so we've been calling this the Central California Business Planning and Ownership Training Program, which supports the requirements of the California Dream Fund program. It is a virtual via Zoom and Google Classroom based program. So participants will need a free Google account to participate before they enroll. And all of the class materials are facilitated through Google Classroom. The quizzes are done through Google Classroom. The homework is done through Google Classroom, so that we have the documentation that we need to provide to the state of your active participation and completion of all of the training requirements that are expected of this program. It is a 6-week training program with 3 hours of dedicated time each week. Those 3 hours are 90 minutes of live or on-demand classroom training and up to 90 minutes of weekly homework. The state is asking that we do about 18 hours in this training, and that's how we split that up. Participants are expected to complete all 6 classes, either live or on demand. And because we're using Zoom and we're using YouTube for the on-demand, the analytics document whether or not you have attended and what percentage of the class you attended, so that we can support that you participated in 100% of all of the training. We also require that you pass a weekly knowledge exam, which is actually a state requirement. You have to pass that quiz at 100% or greater, but it's open note, open book, and you can take it as many times as you need to until you get to 100%, because the goal is that you have learned what you need to learn to pass the quiz, because those are the things you need to know to be able to start and launch a healthy, productive, profitable business. So we're interested in you learning the material. You will meet with a no-fee SBDC consultant at least one time. That's a requirement. And you should have your consultant assigned from your home SBDC center by the end of week 2 of the class. So essentially, you've got classroom, homework, and a consultant all working together to help you go from the idea phase of starting a business all the way through to launching that business, which then makes you eligible to apply for the grant. So you also have to complete a business plan. The California Dream Fund program has provided us with a template that you must use. There are lots of business plan templates that are out there, and you can have and use all the different ones that you would like for your business, except for when you get ready to apply for the California Dream Fund grant, you must use the California Dream Fund business plan template. So we provide that for you, and the consultant can work with you on how to fill that information in. And you must legally launch your business with all of the required permits, licenses, and certifications after you've started the training program. So not before, after you've started the training program, but before you apply for the grant. So you have to have your business launched legally before you apply for the grant, but not before you involve yourself in the training. You also are expected to have a business banking account unless you're a sole proprietor business and you can use a personal banking account, but we highly recommend that most businesses have a business banking account and you separate your expenditures and your revenues, your personal and your business expenditures and revenues in two different accounts. And then, of course, at the end of the program, we're hoping that you will apply for and receive your California Dream Fund grant, your seed money to launch the business that you've been working so diligently during the 6-week training program to prepare to launch. So this is the detail of what's actually going to be trained, the discussion topics that we'll have. So the training is designed to provide participants with the resources that they need to research and plan to launch a business legally, and where you can find the answers that are specific to your type of business. These are public resources that can be used after the class to support changes in your business model or your ideas later on, or even after you've launched your business and there are things you want to do. Maybe you want to launch a new product or service line. You've got access to those resources to go back and help guide you through that process. So the SBDC's job is to teach and to be an information resource, not to do it for you. So this training, together with the participants' assigned consultant, will give them the resources that they need to decide, one, is the idea a good idea, a legitimate business idea, as opposed to a hobby idea, and how to plan and execute that launch, as I said, hopefully to create a profitable business. So in the first class, we go over, it's really a training introduction. We talk about California Dream Fund requirements, the homework, the how to use Google Classroom, available resources that are there for you. It's really sort of setting the foundation for the next 5 weeks. The second week is titled "Is Owning a Business Right for Me?" And it's really focused on entrepreneurial mindset, the whole feasibility of what your business concept is, the overview of starting a business, and beginning to do some assessments, personal assessments as to whether or not being a business owner is a good fit for you. The third week is setting up your business by the book, and it takes you through all of the steps of figuring out what are the licensing and permitting requirements, certification requirements that your business may have. What kind of insurance do you need to have for your business? What are the taxes, the tax requirements, both local, state, and federal? What are the legal requirements in terms of structuring your business and all of the options for that? If you're planning on hiring employees, what kinds of requirements exist for that? And where do you go to find that? And what kinds of filings do you need to do? So that's a very meaty workshop, and it's filled with just tons of different resource links because each business is different. You all are going to have different licensing, permitting, and insurance, et cetera, requirements. So we're not going to be able to tell you specifically what you need, but we'll give you the resources that help you determine what you need, and then you can work with your consultant to be specific about your business needs. The fourth class is called Planning for a Healthy Business, and that's where we spend a lot of time talking about the values, the steps, the processes for business planning. How do you do a market analysis and identification? How do you do a competitive analysis? And why is that important? The fifth class is business planning, financial literacy and management. So we talk about budgeting and bookkeeping and financial management software and understanding financial statements that you heard Pam say that they need when you apply for loans. So understanding how those are helpful for you in accessing capital, but also how they're helpful for you in managing your business on a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. And we talk about cash flow management as well in that fifth class. And then finally, in the 6th class, it's about funding your business. How do you access capital? What are the next steps, including how do you apply for grants if they're out there, including the California Relief Grant, and any other capital that might be available and accessible to startups to help you launch your business successfully and grow. So that's the curriculum. And then each class has homework assigned to it. This is up to 90 minutes weekly that you do on your own. The training is designed to give participants, as I said, the resources that they need to research and plan for launching the business legally, but really more importantly, where to find the answers to that are specific to their type of business. As I said, they're all public resources that can be used after the class. And the types of homework that we offer are things like, becoming familiar with online, local, state, and federal small business resources. We tell you where they are, you go through them, you do some research as part of your homework. We also want to make sure that you're aware of learning how to use online resource tools such as Google Classroom or the SBA's learning platform, which is a set of videos, and SBA's business guide and more. We also provide you with participant guides that explain the concepts that are taught in the class. So we go over things in the class, then you go through the participant guide for your homework. Many of those participant guides include self-assessments so that you can do some assessments about where you are, where you need to go, what kinds of steps you need to take. We have a variety of business plan templates that we share with you. As I said, the one that you would need to use for the grant is very specific, but you can access a variety of different templates. And then we ask you, as we have kind of teach you through the different topics, we ask you to spend some time on your homework actually researching what are the permits and licensing and certification requirements that you need. Understanding the market where you plan to deliver your business products and services. What's the competition? How is it priced? How should you price yours? What kind of insurance do you need? And any other needs that your business has. So you hear about it and learn about what you need in the class. And then after the class, during that following week, you're doing the research that helps you answer the questions and get the information you need to know that you've just learned about in the class. And then, of course, you have access to the consultant to help you work on some of those details or answer questions that you don't have easy answers to, and help guide you further in developing your process. The plan is that by the end of those 6 weeks, you have gathered the information, done the analysis, done the research, begun to develop your business plan, with the hope that by the end of the 6 weeks, you may be capable and ready to go to actually physically launch your business and apply for the grant. You don't have to apply for the grant at the end of 6 weeks. We really hope that you do, but as soon as you're ready and meet the requirements to apply, we would like to encourage you to do that. In terms of training registration, if this is something that you think you might be interested in doing, I think the important thing is that you go to the cadreamfund.com, which is now very robust and can give you all kinds of information about grant eligibility, how you can use the grant funds if you get them, what the post-grant requirements are. And many of those things are available in multiple languages. So if you need it in something other than English, you can get that. But it gives you a sense of what is the state expecting from you if you're applying for these funds? And is this something you're willing to tackle for $5,000 or $10,000? So that's my first advice, is that you go and look at that first as you're doing your evaluation of, is this a good program for me? If after reviewing that, you conclude that I think this is something that would be really helpful for me, I want to be part of this training program, you want to contact your home SBDC to register. So how do you find your home SBDC? Remember the map that Kelly shared. Your home SBDC is going to be located in the geographic area where you plan to start your business, but you can go to centralcaliforniasbdc.com, get started, the link that's on the screen, and and it will walk you through signing up for services from your home SBDC. We'll get you connected to the right center. They'll take you through the application for the California Dream Fund training program process. What I would encourage that you do, that you, once they send you that application package, you want to complete it and return it as quickly as you can. As I said, we have already completed the first 6-week cohort. We're halfway through the second, and we have already filled the waiting list for cohort 3 and 4. And we're starting to add participants to cohort 5. And what that means, if you're planning on signing up and you sign up right now, you probably wouldn't be able to join a class for 2 to 3 months, which means that you join the class of 2 to 3 months, it's 6 months of class, which pushes you out further in terms of your being able to launch your business, and also in terms of being able to apply for the grant. So just understand, it's not a apply now, start tomorrow kind of deal. There's lots of people, there's a high demand for this class. And so you need to respond quickly. And because there's a high demand, once you get on the waiting list, if they call you and say, okay, you're on the waiting list for cohort 5, we're confirming cohort 5, will you be participating? Please respond quickly to accept your seat, because the seats are filling up fast. The other thing is, if you do not have an intention to actively participate and complete the full 6 weeks of training, please don't accept that seat, because you're taking away an opportunity from someone else who's waiting to participate. So as I said, there's a high demand and there's lots of interest. So be sure and be prompt and be clear yourself that this is something you want to tackle. It's an intensive training program. And as I said, there's lots of homework and quiz, and you work at it, but I promise you the value is there. When you finish the training program, you're going to know lots more about what it takes to start a successful business. And you have someone here, in the case of your consultant, to help you, walk with you hand in hand to that launch, and then stay working with you after you've launched your business to help you successfully sustain that and grow that business over time. That's what SBDCs are all about. So that is a lot of stuff in a short period of time. And I hope that I can answer whatever questions you have. And I see we've probably got some in chat. I will also drop some of the links in chat that we just discussed, so that you can access those as well. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and so we can just go to questions.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Cindy. And also thank you for, this was a big lift. This was a lot of effort. And it was very nice that your center in our region was the one that took the initiative and really guided the rest of us kind of through this particular process. So now that you've gone through, and you know how I feel about this word cohort, I said it.
Yeah, you said
now
it.
that we've gone through the first one of those, what are some of your reflections? Maybe some of the things that caught you by surprise, maybe some of the things that you thought came out a little bit different, or just general observations that happened going through that first entire group?
I think because what we did from class to class is, as we interacted with students, this was the first time we'd ever used Google Classroom. This is the first time we'd ever had a 6-week training program that had interactive homework and quizzes and all of that sort of stuff. We learned something every week. And so each week, if we learned something that needed to be fixed, we fixed it and incorporated that into week 2 and into week 3. So now that we're into the second half of the second cohort, we feel like we've worked out most of the hiccups and have fine-tuned things. And I think, and the feedback that we're getting from students is, oh my gosh, I wish that I had taken this class before I started my first business. Some people have a business and they're now starting a second business, and they're wishing that they had taken it before their first business. So that we're getting feedback that this has been really valuable. We're also getting feedback that this is a lot of work. I don't have that much time. The students are saying, I don't have that much time to do this. And we're saying, you need to take the time if you want to have access to the grant at the end. this is all designed to help you be successful. So either it's important to you or it's not. We're not making you be there, So those are the kinds of feedback that we've gotten, and I feel really good about what we've put together.
Yeah, it seems like also that if you're there only for the $5,000 or $10,000 and trying to punch your way through the rest of it, you're there for the wrong reason.
Absolutely. I would tell people it's not worth your time if that's what you're trying to do. And honestly, we've had some students that have come through either the first or the second class so that it was obvious that that was why they were there. And they were trying to skate through, not turning in their homework or saying that they watched the on-demand video and they really didn't. And we have the documentation that demonstrates when somebody's sat through the Zoom class or they've watched the video and then they're telling us they did and we knew they didn't. So all of that points to something I think that's probably important to Pam, and is when you're doing a loan review, you're looking at one of the things is character, and we want businesses to be truthful and honest. And if you're demonstrating in the training program that you're not, that you're just all about the grant, you know what? There's so many checks and balances in this process, in the training and also in the actual grant application process with Lindustry, you're going to get caught. So it's just, don't do it if that's what this is all about for you.
Yeah, important memo to future attendees of the class. Don't try to game the system.
Yeah.
They've got too good at finding everything in all these programs nowadays and really kind of put an end to that. So,
well,
okay,
and I
great.
think there was so much fraud during the COVID relief process that everybody's antenna is up. All of the funder antennas are up. And there's just a lot more hurdles that you have to leap over before somebody's going to give you cash these days.
Pamela, welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, you're a little familiar with the Dream Fund. Is there anything you have to add on the Dream Fund?
No, we are a participant at Tape Center as well, and we're in the midst of our first cohort. And kudos to Cindy; she did an amazing job, really recapping the program and the requirements. And I would echo, it's definitely more about the education, and at the end, there's a cherry on top if you complete all the requirements with some seed money. But no, most businesses really need more than the 5,000 or 10,000 to start.
Agreed. All right, great. Well, let's move through some of the questions that popped into the chat. Let's start up here. And I think the first one is for Pamela. Is there any prepayment penalties or max principal only payments throughout the term of the loan? And I'm assuming that's one of the programs you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, no, all of our loan programs come with no prepayment penalties. And I would like to mention that, we're kind of a bridge to traditional financing. Our goal is to get you healthy enough to go back to a traditional lender, which is usually your primary banking institution.
Hey, Pam, we've lost you again a little bit there, but so I'm going to answer your next question.
Sorry.
I'm going to answer your next question, and that was the nano loan was available in 3 counties, one being Kern, or the other two, and it's probably more than 3 counties, but the other two would be the Fresno SBA region or SBDC region, and also the one in Modesto. Is that correct? So the San Joaquin Valley?
Actually, just Fresno County and Stanislaus County.
Okay.
Fresno and Stanislaus. Were you able to hear?
Yeah.
Got that. Yeah, you got
Okay.
3 big cities in the San Joaquin. So
yeah.
Okay.
And part of that was due to the grant funds that we received, that the grantor wanted those counties covered.
Okay. So I'm assuming that these loans are not available in Mono County.
Not at this time, but if, we're always looking for additional grant funds that will expand the program. We've talked at great length of doing so.
Yes, and I'm always looking for capital for my friends on the Eastern Sierra.
Yes, yes.
And we're going to have more for them too. So let's see, there's a bunch of resources that Maureen just does a phenomenal job producing these things. You see the information for the Kern County Micro Grant Program, still information there. Information for the Mono County link that we had talked about. Also, some more details on the California Dream Fund program, and Cindy popped in at the very bottom of the chat, some more information. Now, I think it says to host and panelists, the bottom part. You might want to include that to everyone.
You're right. Sorry about that, guys.
I knew if I kept you on here after 1 o'clock, that you would finally make a mistake.
There you go.
They're not all on me today.
So the links I just added are the ones that were in my slides.
Okay, perfect. So there's some links right now at the very bottom of your chat box. You can grab the last ones on the slides, and great information. We'll be talking about it more. I'm under the belief that the money that's coming out of the state treasurer's office is going to include more money for the California Dream Fund. And there's just demand for this program, and the way it is getting fine-tuned with the training being offered so well and so valuable. The purpose of the business plan and meeting the consultants is a win-win for, I think, most of the business owners that want to start a business.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay, I'm going to quit on a happy note. I got no disagreements.
Hey, Kelly, there's
Yeah.
one more question in chat on the bottom there about the Kern micro grant.
Oh, snuck in right at the bottom. Has the Kern County started funding the micro grant program? Yes, I believe the first checks are rolling out as we speak. Maybe in the last week or so, the first checks I believe were actually cut. So that is actually started now after some significant delays and going back and forth with Sacramento on a couple of issues that needed resolved. So these things take time, unfortunately. And yes, the County of Kern has started with the first processing of those checks. So the micro fund checks are coming out. So, okay. Well, that's it for number 117. Thank you very much, Pamela Mostert. Cindy Merzon, pleasure as always. And for Maureen, who usually won't speak unless I forget a poll question, a question in the chat box, or a question in the real Q&A box. Thank you, Maureen. We'll be back next week with number 118. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.